For years, we've been called conspiracy theorists about big corporations just slapping the Made in America or Made in France logos on everything. And all of these products were actually made in China. These manufacturers, they are straight up exposing them. Posting videos, receipts, factory floor footage.
Producing high quality accessories for those luxury brands like Chanel, Estee Lauder, La Brea, MAC, Chanel, Bobbi Brown, and even Rosewood.
I've been making bags for 20 years and a family business. Wavecraft.
They're manufactured in China, but the leather, the exotic skins, the snake skin, the alligator, it comes from Kano, Nigeria. A business out of Kano, Nigeria called Winston Leathers. And they are actually a third generation tannery. So he confirmed that his tannery produces leather goods and exotic skins for brands like LVMH.
Clearly purports that all of their bags are handmade in France and their watches are made in Switzerland. In their verbiage, there is no room for confusion about where their products are manufactured. There's no room for China. But in the beginning of that video, that nice Chinese man is clearly standing in front of what appear to be Hermes bags, saying that these are the bags that we manufacture.
China said, "Oh, you thought? If I only knew my Prada, Gucci, and Lulu were made in the same place as what I could get at DHgate." Hey Visionaries, it's A back on your screen in another one. I hope you're all well, and as you can tell from the title, today we're doing another visual pod, so cue the intro. You're listening to the Authentic with Alicia pod. I'm your host, you can call me A for short. This episode is inspired by the tariff wars. I know I'm not the only one who is here sipping slow. I am so intrigued to see which way this is gonna go, and in full transparency, who knows, by the time this is edited and uploaded, maybe these politicians will change their mind, but at present time, China said, "You really want to play? Okay, I want to know, is China winning this tariff war or not?" Words I never thought I would say, but hey, this is not a political pod and I'm not an economist, so we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the authentic side of this. As per usual, what we like to do is share some takeaways to help you on your authentic way. Today we've got 4, the first of which is what goes down must come up. I know most people say it the other way around, but I'm saying it that way for a reason. You'll find out in a second. 2 is what goes around comes around. 3 will be, what are we buying into? And 4th and final is more a question for you, but I'll share my thoughts on it too. What is luxury? So as we go through these topics today, I hope that you can share your sentiments on them too. I am so excited to talk about this with you since I have been looking for an excuse for a minute to talk about the luxury world. I remember it was like 3 or 4 years ago, my cousin shared a post with me on Instagram. I will cue one that is very similar to it.
Made in China. Or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way. Because some brands get real creative when it comes to maiden labels. Bringing that Chinese labor to the European land to protect that fancy labels while cutting costs everywhere else. I've seen leather goods from all over the world, and honestly, the country name on the label means almost nothing to me. It's who made it and how. But for consumers, that label still hits hard. Admit it, we flinch when we see that, especially on a luxury leather bag. Here's the truth though, every country has a range of quality in the craftsmanship. Italy, mostly mid to high quality and some exceptional stuff, while some terrible goods. China, on the other hand, a good chunk on the low end to mid. Yes, but also a sliver at the top tier. And yes, world-class work is also coming out of China at smaller quantities. China has been doing the work. Decades of intense manufacturing built some serious skills. Labels do not guarantee quality. They just suggest a probability within that distribution chart.
This leather expert is discussing how a lot of these luxury brands aren't so luxurious when it comes to where they're made in. And we've all heard the DHgate of it all, the idea that there's certain factories in parts of China that make the same thing for a fraction of the price. And since after all, when you think about luxury, you're paying for the craftsmanship, the artisan, the luxury of it all. But if it's made in China, then it really turns on its head this idea of luxury, right? Let me not get ahead of myself. Let's start from the top. So if you're on TikTok, you've probably already seen some of the clips of Chinese influencers exposing it all. As a Scorpio, I'm here for the pettiness of it all. Cue the clips.
Supplier of Zara shoes is Yuan Li Tong Shoes. The supplier of Zara coat
Behind the Starbucks, Philips, and Costco cups. This is the factory.
The material and the craftsmanship are basically the same because they all come the same production line.
I'm seeing these manufacturer videos saying they're making everything from Hermes bags to Nike to cosmetics to furniture and that you can get it too. There's factories that do Shein and Temu, but there's also like artisan level factories that do really complicated stuff. So it is certainly possible, and plenty of the brands that you know are having their stuff produced there. They also claim that these French and Italian brands get 80% of their product made in China and then will like put a handle on in Italy or whatever. While this does happen, I'm sure, it happens a lot less than they're implying. This is not, you're not getting like a Hermes bag that was made in China. There's also a bunch of videos saying that their cosmetics are made in China and they have like a 40x markup from all of these like known luxury European brands. This is 100% true. There are plenty of products that are made in Milan in the US, but most products, I'd say the vast majority, are made in China by all of the brands you're talking about once they have their formulas dialed.
What you need to realize about these Chinese manufacturers is that this is a propaganda campaign. And it's not pro-Communist Party. It's not pro-China. They are trying to save their businesses.
Chinese manufacturers just hit them folks with the Uno reverse. And right now, the Chinese manufacturers are the best content on TikTok. They said, oh, tariffs, you say. Oh, okay. American people, y'all said y'all like New Balance, Adidas, Nike. Bet. Oh, yeah. The manufacturer is such and such, located at such and such.
I see people making lists of who they want to order from China, and I need everybody to slow down. Yes, China is spilling the tea, but me, as being a business owner who has ordered from China, not all factories are the same.
So as you've seen, they are telling it all. Your favorites, Nike, Adidas, Lululemon, even a little Chanel, Gucci, Louis V in the mix, are all made in the same factory. And I mean, are we shocked by this? I'm more surprised at the swiftness for these content creators to start exposing it all. I'm pretty sure there's a clause where they're not supposed to say, or at least cut out the middleman and say, hey, buy it from me, link below. But hey, who knows? What I do know is this is a perfect case study in the idea of what goes down must come up. I'm sure you've already heard the saying, what goes up must come down. But I was also thinking about what we suppress sometimes eventually comes to the surface. The truth always comes to light. For the longest time, I'll speak for myself, I've kind of turned a blind eye, and I mean, I am legally blind, to some of the whisperings in the industry that so much of what we consider luxury is simply made in China. With that, you think about the thousands of dollars that things go for over here in Canada and the US and how much it truly costs to make it. Not only are they undermining their staff and paying them pennies sometimes, much lower than a livable wage, you think about the conditions they're working in, and then the idea that luxury is made by some artisan in some obscure place in France or Italy. Really, when you get down to it, the idea of made in fill in the blank for whatever acceptable country it may be is just a couple stitches. It is insidious, but it is not surprising because in the world of capitalism, everything goes. So I want to know from you, does this change your mind about what luxury is? Is luxury about the unattainable, about accessing something that only a few elite people can get? Or is it a free-for-all? And are you going to be doing your DHgate shopping haul anytime soon?
Oh, y'all want to see some more? Because I have some Dior. I have some Gucci. Listen, if you want to get directly to my vendor in China, this is their number. This is our WhatsApp.
In a world of social media, the way things are shared with the swiftness, it is not missed on me how quick the script was flipped. Conspiracy theorists, I'm sure, are vindicated in this moment. It is now just out there for everyone in Front Street to see, and also click the link to buy. It's almost like the curtain is pulled back and the veil is so thin between what is real and what was once considered a dupe, but is actually the same thing without the tag or the label attached. On a deeper level, we're gonna get deeper with each of these keys. Number 2 is what goes around comes around. When this first conversation of tariffs came up, America thought they had the upper hand, being one of the biggest consumers of goods in the entire globe. I'm sitting on the sidelines as a Canadian watching like, okay, let's see what China's gonna do. Trump seems to like to play with the economic strings a little bit. So he'll say something and then he'll say we have a 90-day window. He did the same thing with TikTok. So I don't know if this is going to be the new thing for the next 4 years, but strap in because it feels like a roller coaster ride. I am here for a classy clap back. When the man said, we've been around for 5,000 years without you, we can be around another 5,000 years. Ooh, where's my popcorn? Things are about to get interesting. We sometimes forget how we impact each other on an everyday basis. This could be in our communities, in our cities, in our villages, the people that we interact, engage with on the daily. We may not know the impact or influence we have on people each and every day in a small or large way, but there is definitely a ripple effect. And then when you zoom out and you look at it from a global stage, it's plain as day to see that the interactions and engagements that we have over here eventually influence and impact over there and vice versa. When you see some people complaining about warehouses no longer needing to produce because all of their orders have come to a halt or have been canceled, it's the same as some American companies saying, we make everything in scratch but the packaging, so what are we supposed to do? I find as a North American, we have a very unfortunate, strong sense of individualism where we forget that in small ways that can become very significant real quick, we impact and influence one another. I have quite a few friends overseas and their sense of community is rock solid. They're more aware of how the things they do as individuals or how their countries interact with other nations. When we deny ourselves the reality that there is a domino effect, when we do something we can't control for X, we get a deeper sense of how our reactions might gauge and give a different response. We can't predict nor control other people, definitely not politicians in other countries. But we can control ourselves and our reactions and have a sense of awareness and almost I'd even say responsibility for honoring that. Honoring that there is a symbiotic relationship that's undeniable. And even when it does seem off kilter and maybe the scales are not always even, evening the score doesn't mean trying to undermine somebody else. I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. You can let me know. Some people feel that force is needed and required in circumstances like this, but I see this scenario a little differently. The next half of this video is more personal as it pertains to you and me when it comes to luxury. What are we buying into? This idea that whenever we buy a brand, and it could be something like Q-tips or Kleenex or Lamborghinis and Ferraris, we're buying into an identity. We're buying into quality. We're buying into reliability. We're buying into feeling a certain way whenever we use that item. And when we get really real about what we're really buying into and what we think it says about ourselves, or what we think we're telling others by consuming that good or occupying that space or using that service, then we get a deeper sense of ourselves. We mindlessly scroll and shop and we don't realize that every time we purchase a perfume or we go on a flight far away, that we are creating this story about ourselves. We miss the moment to use these as opportunities to simply check in with ourselves, to say, I am me outside of this shirt that I'm wearing, or I am me outside of this restaurant that I'm eating at. I like nice things, but this doesn't make me more or less of a person by indulging in these things. When we do that, we also break the shackles that these capitalistic companies have on us to constantly need to consume, to continue buying into that illusion of buying a sense of self. You break free from the mental fog. You have to buy that something to be somebody, or you have to be seen here, and that's a big thing here in Toronto. And you realize you don't have to do anything. You just gotta be you and exist. And if you like a nice thing or two from time to time or all the time, hey, do you, boo? I'm not here to judge. If you like it, I love it. Just know where it's coming from so that you can better enforce your sense of self in order to make better purchases for yourself. That leads perfectly to the last thing, which is, what is luxury? For me, luxury is one thing and one thing alone: time. When you realize that the most luxurious thing you can do is have time freedom, the time to do what you please, to spend time versus spending money, there's nothing like it. And if someone told me that in my 20s, I would not be working 3 jobs at once while in university. I like nice things and I never wanted to live a lifestyle beyond my means, but if I really sit with you guys and be real, there's some times where I took up shifts because I had no business being out at certain restaurants or buying certain things. And if I only realized, especially as someone who's legally blind, who constantly has to battle what it's like to lose vision and adjust to that, I would just go back and appreciate what I had for what it was. And a nice thing from time to time, but not this constant pursuit of trying to be the best by buying the best brands. Instead, I would invest in things that are more edifying, like enjoying moments with people that I love, experiences. They don't have to be exotic, but just nice experiences. Therapy is also a really great investment. When I look at my statement at the end of the month, it doesn't feel as shiny as a new bag. But the sentiment behind pouring into yourself and building up yourself and elevating yourself, and sometimes having to effort, really pays into yourself in a different way that no purchase of product or service could ever do. And that goes for plastic surgery too. Let me know if you want a video on that. I have learned the hard way, and if I can save anybody who's currently there, look at luxury items as a treat. Nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't say anything about who you are as a person. You're no better, no worse, no more, no less because you have something or don't have something. In my 20s, I honestly bought all my luxury goods as a way to kind of boost myself up, whether I was having a bad day or I felt like I just wanted to get out of a certain stage of my life. And if I worked and efforted for that thing, then I made it. Spoiler alert, that's not quite how it works. In a way, it taught me a lot about setting goals and being able to achieve them, and that sense of gratification, although not instant, always a wait and work for it type of girl. You start defining these things for you and asking yourself that big question I always say, your why. It'll help you better inform what you buy. So I flip it back to you. What is your idea of luxury? Is it being able to, as the Caribbeans say, get vex? Which means when things don't go your way, you can say bye-bye at work and know you'll be okay? Is it being able to travel to far, far away lands, eat at delicious restaurants, being able to have amazing experiences? Is it the luxury bag or the fine perfume? Is it being able to live in a beautiful apartment with all the amenities or buy a house? Is it time with your family and friends? I'd love to know, so you can let me know. And as always, thank you so much for making it to the end of this episode. Until next time, stay blessed, stay authentic. The people over on TikTok have no chill. No one really talks about the true cost of luxury. I would be remiss to buy something I have no business buying, then pay double in interest for it, and then say something happens to it and I can't afford to maintain it. Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Not me.